Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching, welcome to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be telling you about my learning to drive experience as I only passed last May. It has taken me a while, but I will get into that eventually. I want to first by saying thank you so much for all my new subscribers. Those who have commented, liked and subscribed recently, it does mean a lot as I am a small channel. And I hope you have been enjoying my dashcam videos around Sheffield. There's currently 3 up on my channel, so if you just go down on my channel then you can see all my videos that I've recently uploaded. So as I said, for today's video I'm going to be telling you my learn to drive experience from start to finish, and it might be quite a lengthy video, so I'll try and not talk too much in between each thing, but I will also give details as well. So I started learning to drive in, I believe it was 2017. I got my provisional in 2017. Started lessons in a manual car. Was doing really good. Hated my first driving lesson. Was so scared. Which is normal, completely normal. I'm sorry if I keep going in this video. I'm a bit awkward on camera, but just bear with me. So yeah, I did loads of lessons, passed my first theory, first time, not the first time I passed the test by the way, but we'll get into that, and booked in for my practical test. Went on the practical test that day, failed. Cannot remember what I failed for, but it wasn't, I think it was mirrors I failed on. I didn't get any seriouses, I just failed on mirrors because I was really rubbish at checking my mirrors. So I failed first attempt. I wasn't expecting to pass first time. Didn't want to pass first time if I'm completely honest, because I think it makes you a better driver if you do not pass first time. So I then had some more lessons, booked in for my second test, and I failed again. And I kind of knew I was going to fail because I did everything wrong. I got, I believe, 2 serious and dangerous. I literally did everything wrong. I'd gone on a route I'd not known before, as well as my first test. I went around an area I wasn't familiar with, so even though the test centre was pretty close to the area, I'd not been on that area in my lessons. My driving instructor at the time wasn't very happy about that, but that's by the by. So I was upset, obviously, didn't pass second time. And then I had a really long, I did like about a few months break, and then I booked in again. And by this point my theory was like getting close to running out, but I thought, right, third time lucky, I'm sure I'm going to do this. No, I failed again. Third time I failed, I don't know what I failed on. It was something really silly. I can't remember now because it was the old paper sheets they used to give you. I've still got them somewhere. And I was so disappointed. Oh, that was it. I failed for rolling back on a hill, and if the examiner said if there wasn't a car behind I would have been alright, but because there was a car behind I was literally about to go for the brake and the examiner went for the brake. I was so mad. I tried sweet talking him a little bit, but that didn't really work. So I then had a really long break from my third test to taking lessons again. I think I had about a couple of years out. I thought I'm going to give myself a couple of years out, have some time to myself, have some breathing space, and by this point obviously my theory had run out. I had to do it again, and then I went with a different driving instructor. That there was nothing wrong with my first driving instructor, it's just he put his prices up and his availability wasn't great because obviously people were booking with him. It was a good driving instructor, nothing wrong with him. I got on with him as well, so it wasn't anything personal. It was just my commitments, his commitments didn't really fit in. So then I went with a lady who my brother actually passed with, and again her weekly schedule didn't fit in with me. She only did 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Most of those 3 days I worked, so it was hard to fit in a lesson. I had about 3 or 4 lessons with her. We weren't really gelling. She was fine, she wasn't horrible or anything. It was a different car, I got used to the car and everything, but it just didn't fit in with me, my work commitments and her work commitments and stuff. So it just didn't work out. And then again, I had another break, I think for another year or so, and then I decided enough was enough. I'm not doing manual lessons anymore. I just want to pass. So I decided to go with automatic. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be thinking, oh, automatic, that's a lazy way out. For me, I'm not bothered as long as I can get from A to B in a car and I can basically drive. It doesn't matter to me if it's got gears or not. So, I then started in, I believe it was around August of 2021, with a lovely lady called Natalie. She was absolutely amazing from day one. I felt so much at ease. I felt like I'd been driving ages, even though I was only on lessons. So, sorry, I'm a bit out of breath. And I then booked my test. She was like, "You're pretty much test ready." So then I booked my theory for December the 2nd, 2021, and passed that again. First time I actually got a better score the second time around than I did the first time around. So I was quite chuffed with that. So I passed that again. And then it took me a few weeks to actually get a test because at this point, with COVID and everything else, the backlog of tests was like ridiculous at my local test centre. So then I got a test for, I think it was January, and unfortunately I failed. I was so gutted. I really thought I was going to pass on like attempt number 4. But for me it felt like attempt number 1 again because I was driving a completely different car. I wasn't driving a manual anymore. Sorry about that, guys. My camera decided to go a bit funny. So as I was saying, yeah, I failed attempt number 4. It was for something really stupid. What happened was I was pulling out of this junction, and I thought I'd passed. I didn't think I'd failed. I was 100% convinced I'd passed because I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. I was pulling out of this little side street, and it was quite hard to see, so I budged forwards. That wasn't the issue, and I knew I'd got enough time to pull out before the car that was way up the road was coming down the road. So I pulled out, went into the far right lane, and when I got back to the test centre, the test examiner, who I'd had previously, I'm not going to say his name I know him by first name. I don't know him by his second name, but the examiner said, "Oh, you've failed," and I was like, "What for?" And he says, "When you've pulled out of, I can't remember the name of the road, the car behind had to slow down." And I was like, whoa. I knew I had enough time, but I thought, you know what, not going to argue. I was booking again. So, booked in again. It took me a while to get another test, obviously because of the backlog yet again. And, you know what I'm going to say here? I failed again. I believe this was in March last year. Yeah, I failed again in March last year. I was so gutted. I thought I had a perfect drive. I thought, yes, I've got this one. Didn't think I'd done anything wrong. I was at these crossroads, not far from where I live, and apparently I was too far over to the oncoming traffic coming the other way, like past me, and a van had to flash me because he couldn't get past. He could have easily got past. There was more than enough room for him to come past. So apparently I was too far over. It was classed as a serious because the van had to flash me. It was driving something, whatever it was, but it was because he had to flash me. I failed. Whatever. Even Natalie, my driving instructor at the time, says that's a little bit harsh. But anyway, really upset. This was attempt number 5 at this point, and I thought, am I ever going to pass? And I thought, yes, I am going to pass, because by this point I'd bought my car in January. I will go through at the end what car I have, and I thought, I can't give up now. I've got a car sat outside. I'm paying finance on this car. I cannot afford to not pass my driving test. I thought, no matter how many attempts it takes me, I'm going to do this driving test. I will pass this driving test no matter what. So attempt number 6 comes round. Had a few more lessons in between. And then I had like a couple of months where I didn't have any lessons. Oh no, I didn't have any lessons. I From March to May, she just said, just wait for a test day. If you get a cancellation, we'll give you some lessons. And I used to have like an hour and a half lessons with her because I found 2 hours too much, but an hour not enough. So I then booked my test, and it was something around about, I think it was like August or September. I was waiting and waiting and waiting for a cancellation. Next minute, a cancellation comes up for the 17th of May. I was crapping myself because this was like 4 days away at this point. I think I found out on the Friday and my test was on the Tuesday. And I ring Natalie. I'm like, Natalie, I've just got a test. It's next week. She was like, next week, like 17th of May. Next week, she was like, oh, beep, SHIT. And she was like, right, I'm going to get you some lessons in. So I had one on the Friday. No, I found out on the Thursday, that was it. So I had one on the Friday morning. I then had an hour on the Monday. I had like an hour and a half on the Monday, and then I had another hour and a half on the Tuesday before my driving test. Or it was around about an hour. It was just under an hour actually. So test day comes round, and I get this woman. I was like, okay, this might be really, really good, because all the examiners I've had before have been men. Not being sexist to men, but I got this female examiner, and Natalie went to me, you've got a good one there. So I had good vibes, really, really good vibes. Did a really good drive, and didn't do anything wrong. Go back to the test centre, and she told me that I had passed. I was over the moon that I had passed my driving test attempt number 6, and I had to actually ask her twice if she was joking. She was like, no, I'm being serious, you have passed. With one minor. One freaking minor. I passed my driving test. My one minor was appropriate speed. Not going quick enough. I was like, I'm gonna take that. I don't care. So I asked her again, like, are you sure? Are you sure I've passed? She was like, yeah, why? She's like, is this your first attempt? I was like, no, this is attempt number 6. She was like, well, you would never have thought it. She says, that drive was amazing. She says, I was being picky with that one minor. She said, I've got to give you at least one. I was like, I don't care, I've passed. And my driving instructor Natalie stood next to me. She was like, I cannot believe you've finally done it. I says, I can't believe I've finally done it either. So I gets in the car at the other. I have to get in the car, swap seats with Natalie, because obviously I'm not insured to drive her car anymore. And I sent my mum a text message saying, on the way back from test centre, with crying emoji faces. So she thought I'd failed. So it's not far from my house to the test centre. It's literally a 5-minute drive, if that. So sorry guys, my foot's gone to sleep. Oh. So yeah, I got to my house, got to just before I got to the door. I says, "Oh, Mum, can you open the door? I forgot my key because our door's awkward." That's another story. And I got the certificate behind my back, and I was just like, I couldn't stop smiling. I was gonna act like really upset that I'd failed, but I just couldn't keep a straight face. And I was like, I showed my mum the certificate, and she was like, "You bitch." She was like, "I thought you'd failed," and I was literally shaking. I was literally like that for like 2 hours, because I got work as well afterwards, and I'd got work later that day. But I'd said that I was going to be late because my test was like 2:32. My test was, and I was doing work at 4. No, I was doing work. What time was I doing work? I was doing work later that day. I think I was doing work at 4, but I was just a bit later than 4 because, like I said, got to get home. Well, I had to have my test, which was like good 40 minutes. I had to get home, have something to eat, sort my insurance out on my car, which my mum did while I was at work. She drove me to work in my car, and then she sorted my insurance out whilst I was at work. So then the next morning I could then drive to work. So yeah, that was basically the lowdown of my driving test and learning to drive experience. A long road, very, very long road, but I finally did it last May. 17th of May 2022 will always hold a special place in my heart. So the car that I have, So yeah, the car that I have that I bought last January is a Toyota Aygo in a mauve colour. I will probably insert a picture, either in a clip or on the screen somewhere. It's in like it says mauve, but it's more like a pinky purple colour, with black alloys, black roof. But you'll be able to see from the picture. I fell in love with this car as soon as I saw it. I wasn't looking for this car in particular. I was just looking at automatic cars in Sheffield, and it was basically everything that I wanted. It was small. I wasn't wanting anything big. It was a 1 litre. It's a 1 litre petrol, ideal for what I want. And the only downside when I bought the car is I couldn't test drive it, because when I bought it, I was still a learner. But I sat in the car with the guy at the dealership, and it felt alright to me. My mum was sat in the back of the car as well. She went with me to help me with the whole buying process of a car, because I didn't know anything about buying cars, and it is a lovely little car. I will be sad to see it go when my finance is done, but it is a brilliant first car. It's quite spacious for a little car. The only thing I would say is the boot is very, very small. I will do a car tour at some point when I get time. But yeah, it is a good first little car, and yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything I need to discuss in this video, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, or if you want me to do like a driving test tips video, I can do that. I might even film that anyway, and I will see you guys, or you might see my next dashcam video very, very soon, hopefully next week, if I can get enough video clips up. If not, you'll be seeing this video before a dashcam video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any questions. Like I said, I'm willing to answer them when I can. So yeah, thanks guys. Bye.